Welcome to my channel, everybody. I'm, of course, your host tonight, Mega Mike the Movie Man. We have a super fun stream for you all tonight, the first Mega Movie meeting with the classy consultants of cinema. So we're actually going to be talking Gladiator 2, a new release. And so we're going to get into some post-game question discussion here. Now, this is going to be, for the most part, spoiler-free. And if we do think we're going to give a spoiler, we'll give you guys a fair warning. So you guys are safe to be here for the moment. And we're going to, like I said, try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. We're just going to kind of generally talk about the movie with some of these questions. Now, this is a member-only comedy live stream. Of course, everybody can watch, but if you want to leave a comment, you got to be a member here just to try to help kind of encourage memberships and support of the channel for this holiday season. So if you do want to become a member, there's tons of perks out there, but I will be doing a giveaway. So if you want a chance at a giveaway and you become a member, you can definitely qualify for that. I just got the Columbia Classics Volume 4 set, and I want to give away those digital codes, those 6 movies right on 4K digital code style. Some lucky winner could win all 6 of those movies digitally tonight. So let's make it happen, right? Does that sound like a good giveaway, guys?
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Yes, there we go. Awesome. So we're going to take this off for now because that was making the blood rush to my head. You know, it's not the perfect fit right there, okay? Not one size fits all, unfortunately.
But it looks so cozy, Mike, on your face.
I know, right?
With your nose hanging below the nose piece.
I know, right? We worked the best, but we got our cup anyway. Got the mini one. So we're
God, look at that.
Your cup ready, of course. And of course, you got to have your popcorn bucket, right? It's not as stylized, but you know, Gladiator 2, wow. There you go. So, and you got your popcorn ready. You guys all bring your snacks for tonight.
You got popcorn now. I want.
You gotta have your snacks. What are you guys doing out there?
I got the popcorn bucket too, but I don't. There's nothing in it. It's just
wow! Look at that.
Oh, it opens. Yeah. Does mine? Mine doesn't even open like
Here's
that.
open. Whoa.
Yeah, there's a seam on your hand. Look at the thing.
Oh wow. Well, now we know. That's why we do these streams to inform the audience. That's pretty cool.
Watch the whole movie with this on and just ate out of the popcorn bucket.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
However you want to do it.
Nice.
All right. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this good stuff here. So yeah, once again, like I said, only Mega members can comment on the live stream, so definitely consider that, and gifted memberships, of course. But let's go ahead and get right in. Oh, we got a comment here already there. Oh, that's Caveman, because Caveman got a wrench. Caveman got wrenching privileges right there. So.
Right.
And Huck is a wrench as well. See? All right. Let's go. So let's get into this first question here. How did this movie compare to the first Gladiator? And I'll start off on this one. I just watched the first Gladiator right before this stream. So I actually watched Gladiator 2, and then I revisited Gladiator 1 today. So it's fresh in my mind. And I did quite enjoy Gladiator. It's a Best Picture winner. Come on now. The music is amazing in this one. Russell Crowe is so good and just perfect for the role. And Joaquin Phoenix, too, right? He's the villain here. I always get him mixed up with Jared Leto, so I always got to double check. Yeah. But anyway, they have a great dynamic in here, of course. And what I really liked about this first Gladiator is the epic war action scene at the beginning. I think that was missing in Gladiator 2. And you got a little bit more like politic dialogue discussion in this one, especially with the extended edition. Have you guys tried the extended edition on the first Gladiator?
I've seen it.
I stuck with the original today. I watched it today as well, Mike, so it's right. It's fresh in my head. I just wanted to go with the one that won the Academy Awards. Just that one.
Yeah, this one was way longer. This was like, I think at least 20 minutes longer. I don't know. It was like 3 hours. It was wild.
It was already 2:40, so no.
Oh, there you go. So that's what happened. So I really liked that. I liked how they used real animals in the first one. That was one of the big gripes I have about the second one, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, I'm sure. Where the CGI like animals, I'm like, what the heck? This does not look real at all. I'm like, yes, real animals in the first one. We got a real tiger here, real horses. Like this just looks better. It just felt more authentic. Like it just had the film grain to it. It just felt like I'm actually here in Rome. It felt more, whereas second one, a little more fantastical, I guess you could say, right? But that's what I like about the first one. Nate, what'd you like about that first one?
Okay, so what do I like? Oh, the first one is a perfect film to me. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. I've seen both versions. Personally, I think as far as extended cuts or director's cuts, Ridley Scott is one of the, if you're going to watch one, he usually has some of the best ones. And sometimes they're better than the original version. This is not one of those cases. Just the regular theatrical cut of Gladiator is the better. But I think it's a perfect film. I think Russell Crowe is incredible in it. I agree with you. The score, fantastic. The visuals, fantastic. Joaquin Phoenix is great. Connie Nielsen is great. I don't really have any problems with the first movie. So as far as how, I think it's great. 10 out of 10.
Thumbs up. Yes. All right, Huck, you feel the same way there?
All right, now, so your question is, how does this movie compare to the first? Are
there
you
go.
changing it?
Rip into the second one. Go for it.
Well, I mean, but it's because it sounds more like we're just saying, how did we like the original Gladiator? It is now what you're asking, right? I want to answer
the grammar police over there.
No, it's not grammar. It's like two different answers.
That's true.
Give us both answers. I want to hear both.
All right, so here I'll start with the Gladiator since we're all doing that. Nate, like Nate said, it's a masterpiece of a film. I love this movie. I kind of wish I'd seen it before going to see Gladiator 2. I just didn't have the time to do so. Having done so, it's kind of altered my take on Gladiator 2 after the fact.
Oh.
But I'm glad I did it the way I did, because I was able to just sort of watch Gladiator 2 and like it for what it was without having any sort of preconceived like memory or Easter egg or anything like that from the first movie. So it actually helped me like Gladiator 2 better not watching it second. So that's what I'll say about that. But yeah, like you guys said, Russell Crowe, as good as Paul Mescal was, he just isn't Russell Crowe. But that said, he did a good job. We're going to get into the character stuff later, so I'm not going to get too far down the road with that. But yeah, they're both good.
How do you feel?
So I have the original here. This one's like 155 minutes. This new one is like with 2 hours and 20 minutes or so. Or I don't know. I enjoyed the new one. I do agree with the CGI effects were kind of strange. The strange like monkeys or whatever it is.
The monkeys, too much.
I don't know what they were. They were hybrid monkeys. I didn't think that CGI was that bad necessarily. The way that the creatures looked, but yeah, the first one had more of an authentic kind of look and more real. I thought the first one was more of like an art house kind of movie. You watch that, it's more artsy than this new one. This one's more, and part two is more mainstream with some art house kind of feels here or there in the movie. But obviously the first one had Oliver Reed and had Richard Harris in it. Those two classic British actors in it. But I really liked Denzel Washington in this movie. And Paul Mescal, I had never seen him before, except I knew he was nominated for an Oscar for Undersun, which I haven't seen before. But I thought he was good in the role. I think maybe if he had been more well known, I think people would enjoy it more. But this movie did well at the box office. I don't know, we'll get into that later. But compared to Wicked, both were released this weekend, this one did better than Wicked at least internationally box office sales. So I enjoyed it, but I did have somebody on my YouTube channel. I did an out of the theater reaction, and somebody on Sunday morning left a message. He says, when I said I liked the movie, he says, "Are you serious? Gladiator 2 is crap." I
got the same response on that. I said when I posted my reaction, it's like, "What? This movie sucks." I'm like, wow. That's a stretch to say the movie sucks.
Yeah,
you cannot like it as much as the first, but there's so much quality in the making of that film that you're just being a clickbaiter to say it sucks. So
I wonder if they even watched the movie.
Probably not.
The time they don't even watch the movie. They're like, "Oh, this one critic said they didn't like it."
Somebody else, before I even saw the comment, somebody else commented to his comment and said, didn't you even watch it? And he said, "Yeah, I watched it, but I kind of wonder. Some people trash movies before they even see them."
Oh yeah,
so I don't know.
Those are real movies.
I was surprised that it did that well, because Wicked. Both Saturday when I saw Gladiator 2, all these kids and stuff in this kind of a smaller theater I went to, packed with kids and just tons of people. A lot of females that loved it. And then yesterday when I saw Wicked, I noticed that it was a packed house. It's like, and my theater when I saw Gladiator 2 wasn't like that. it wasn't packed like that. So maybe it did really well internationally. It did, I think, would you say 55 million? That's what Gladiator 2
domestic, yeah, and I think was it 100 million internationally since they
I'm looking at it as 165 international, total gross of 220.
Ooh,
That's crazy. So
That's
you're right.
good.
So you're right. It did better than Wicked globally. That's
yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I could just jump back in, since I didn't answer the second part of the question of how did it compare to me.
Yeah.
I would say it works as a sequel, but it does not necessarily compare in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like, it is far campier. It's a far campier movie than the first movie. It is way more of an action. This is like an action movie, pure action movie, whereas the original is more of a epic, right? Like the old school kind of. There's action in it, but it has other interest. Whereas here it is a little, and they're they added a lot of that with Denzel. The actors are so good that they still make it very interesting. But I felt it was a lot more theatrical, a lot more campier, funnier. Like the thing with the monkey was like, that would never be in Gladiator 1, but it cracked me up. Dogness, and everybody makes them all get up and clap.
The monkey, that just pulled me right out. The monkey, I'm like, really? I mean, the rhino was a little better because it was kind of had a badass feel. Like, dude's riding a rhino, totally fake. But the monkey,
so it's a lot campier. So I still think it works as a sequel. But as far as comparing them, they do feel different. Yeah. Even though they definitely feel like they're in the same world, but they don't feel like the same movie. You know what I mean?
See, because to me, like Gladiator could have actually happened. Gladiator 2, no way. Like we said with the hybrid monkey what were those?
It was like baboons, but one of them looked like weird.
These were not real animals. These were fake animals. Like it gave me flashbacks to like Zack Snyder's 300, where there were some like fake animals in there, which is cool, but it's not realistic at that point. And then I'm sure we'll talk more about some of the scenes later, but like with the water and the sharks, I'm like, okay, this is no longer realistic. This is not happening here in ancient.
I've never seen that before with water and
actually, are we going to get to that later? Because I'm
sure we will. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to question 2. Because you guys already were starting to talk about some of the characters here. So, Steve, I know you were mentioning some of the characters. What about the hero characters? What do you think of our good hero champions in this one?
I mean, Paul Mescal was the main hero, but I thought he did a great job considering I really had no expectations. I knew what he looked like, but I'd never seen him act before. And I thought he did a good job, especially against Denzel Washington. Like when you're up against this icon, this great Hollywood superstar, and this great actor, Oscar winner. I thought he held his own, when they're in scenes together. I didn't think that Denzel overshadowed him necessarily. He was, at first I thought his accent was kind of strange. Was he from Ireland? I think he had a little bit more of an accent, and then the accent got clearer after a while. But
you tell me this wasn't an authentic Italian accent?
Yeah, right.
Never.
Russell Crowe was Australian, I think. As far as the hero, I thought there were some fight scenes even out of the Coliseum area that he fought some big guy out in like the hallway area. That when Denzel first saw him, he had to kind of display how good he was and the whole thing. And so I thought he did well in this. I don't know. He doesn't really have a ton of acting credits. I think he has maybe 10 or less. So just that part of it there. And the Gladiators, when they first fought the monkeys, the whole thing, and they really focused on Paul Mescal really more in that scene and what he could do in that, and how dirty he can get when he fights and the whole thing. I think he bit into one of the creatures, and so I thought he was good as a hero, and I really can't wait to watch this movie again. I think I'll like it a little bit more even the second time. So some of the stuff, but like I said, it's a shorter running time, so I kind of enjoyed the action from that more than watching the original Gladiator, which is a better movie, but it's a longer movie and more of a art house kind of feel. This one's more of a popcorn movie, I think, compared to the other one, the original.
All right, we got to go to our acting expert, Hollywood Huck. How do you feel about our hero?
Yeah, I agree. I knew nothing about Paul Mescal, and so he had to win me over in this performance, and he did. Like I was never pulled out. I wasn't bored by the guy. It's interesting. I don't know how much what to say here. Okay, so you've got Paul Mescal and Pedro Pascal. I don't know how far but anyway.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about without doing any spoilers.
Okay, so here's how I can say without teeing anything up. It's like they took Maximus and they pulled him apart and put him into two people. They put him into Lucius and General Cassius, which is Paul and Pedro's character. Because Pedro's character does a lot of what Russell's did in the first film, almost like to a T. Weirdly, it's like that's the thing about sequels. It's like gotta have this, and this, or the fans won't like it. So it's just like Pedro was sort of some of those qualities, and then Paul Mescal had some of the other qualities. If that's the best way to say it. So the two of them together sort of embodied what Russell Crowe was. Then, of course, you had this time Denzel Washington and the two emperors. Did not know the entire time that the emperor was Joseph Quinn, who is Eddie from Stranger Things. What?
Yep.
Like, of
I
course.
had no idea. I'm
That's why I
just
played.
realizing it right now. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm watching going, these guys are great. And what the hell? Once again, redheads are the evil people. Let's go.
Right.
I guess I got to typecast it somewhere. But Joseph Quinn was great. I mean, I just saw him in Quiet Place Day One. Thought he was excellent in that. He got to keep his real accent in that. And here he is again, losing the accent or just sort of affecting. You know, whenever people do a movie about anything that's not, whatever it is, Rome, like France, they all sort of talk like this. Now listen very carefully. It's all an English accent, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it was subtle enough that I didn't realize it was him, and he was great. So those are our two villains, and we got Denzel as a different villain, and they all just, you know, here's the thing. Denzel's great. People were sort of touting it as, oh, it's Denzel's movie. No, he's good in it. Like he's exactly what you want Denzel to be, which is great. I personally did not think he stole every scene he was in. I thought he was very good in every scene that he was in. Because sometimes other people could steal that scene. Like some of these brothers would steal the scene. These emperors would steal the scene. So, and I think that's the strength of this cast is that I didn't think anyone was winning any scene over the other except when they needed to. Sometimes when you put Paul and Pedro together, it's like, who's kind of winning you over? Sometimes it was Pedro. Sometimes it was Paul. So that's my take on the heroes.
Yes. Focusing on the heroes. Nate, how'd you feel?
If I could just piggyback off of something you just said, I think it's impossible for Denzel Washington to steal a scene because I think he just owns them when he walks in.
He is the scene. Yeah.
Someone else has to steal it.
Right.
He's just going to be good no matter what. You know
That's
what I mean?
good.
Like,
Someone else has to take it from him.
Yeah.
That's great.
But I agree with what you said. But we'll wait for villains. Okay. Heroes.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
when I think of the hero. No, that's I like it. All right. So we have Paul Mescal's character. Now, I did see After Sun. Apparently, I guess none of y'all had seen it. I didn't like that movie. I know it got a lot of Oscar love, and I was bored to tears. He was very good in it, but it is not this kind of movie. So irrelevant. It's he played like an alcoholic dad. So it's nothing like this role. I thought he was good. I don't think he has the leading man he doesn't have the it for this role.
Not yet.
And I'm not saying he doesn't have it for a different role,
Right.
but for the macho leader fighting warrior, I did not buy it all the time. Is he good? Yes. Did it take me out? No. But is he on the just remember, even Russell Crowe, just the one scene where he's like, "Are you not entertained?" Just that one part, he gave more gravitas and presence than this guy did in this entire movie. So,
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
There you go.
Yeah.
You're locked in. I was never fully locked in with him, but I thought he was fine.
Yeah,
we also had Connie Nielsen back as Lucilla. I loved her in this. Actually, I thought she was great. I loved her in the first one too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she felt she's the only like returning like character or actor and flowed right in like if it wasn't 20 years ago, 24 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah,
Mhm.
24.
Yeah, I thought she was fantastic. Pedro Pascal, an interesting one. He's the last one. Shades of gray, because some of the stuff he does in the beginning, you would not say is necessarily, what. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah.
something that happens at the beginning triggers a lot of
Something-
events and feelings in other characters in this movie. We'll just say that. And so, but he ultimately is a hero character, and I thought he was good. Again, he's another one that I know a lot of people love him, and I
Right.
think he's very good.
Right.
But I don't think he was like amazing in this movie. I thought it was serviceable. Most
Right.
of the hero characters were serviceable. Honestly, my favorite guy was Ravi, the Indian guy. He was
Right.
great.
Yeah.
He's like, Ravi, I need you to go take this thing, and I need you to give me those keys. Ravi's like, I'm gonna do it. Ravi was my guy. So I thought the hero
Right,
characters were good, but and the performances were good. Connie Nielsen probably was my favorite, honestly, out of all of them.
Dude, I'd go with you on that. She was striking.
Yeah.
Yeah, she still looks
You know,
great.
Especially
24 years
just seeing
later.
the first one again, and then having her bring something, we can't say what, something
Right.
back to this movie.
Yeah.
That was not in the first movie.
Yeah. Even
Uh,
just looks she gives,
yeah.
it's like, oh,
Yeah.
she was doing it. I think she did a great job, and nobody's gonna probably talk about her much, but
yeah. Mike, what about you?
Well, I totally forgot about the person you guys are talking about now. So that person's out the mind. So now talking about the characters I remember. So if you gave me the cast list here, I would initially say before seeing the movie, I'm like, oh, Pedro Pascal, he's my dude. I think he's going to give the best performance of all time. I like everything he's been in. And in this movie, it was kind of average, solid
Mhm.
enough.
Yeah.
I don't think really heightened the movie too much. I don't think he brought down the movie. He was serviceable. But usually in most movies I see him in, I'm like, he's still in the show. He's amazing. Here it was
Right.
like, he's solid enough. Paul Mescal. I knew nothing about this person. I don't know anything else this person is in. So I thought it was going to be a train wreck. And I'm like, oh, he's pretty good. And I like how they went with a more unknown actor. I felt that was the right way to handle this, give us something different. And I thought he did the role pretty good. Once again, nothing spectacular, but I think I preferred him over Pedro Pascal. And I think for the role he was given, he was like perfect for it. And I thought he had the physique for it. And then have you guys been hearing what's been going around online? People like not liking the physique of him. Like, oh, yeah, have you guys
Really?
haters.
Yeah. And I'm
No
like,
different than
he
Russell
kind of looks
Crowe.
like Russell Crowe to me, but I guess people were expecting him to look like Thor, like Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Like nobody's
Insane.
gonna look like that. That is very rare.
He looked great. He looked
Mhm.
great. Get off
Yeah.
the man's back.
Yeah, so I thought he had the physicality there. I like his action and choreography moments with the Colosseum and fighting the creature, biting the weird looking monkey. I thought that was all great. So I think he handled everything really well. So I thought he was a delightful surprise. Once again, not amazing, but pretty solid for what the role was. So yeah, those were kind of the hero characters for me. They were just they're fine, average, nothing
So
special.
this is only his 7th movie, and he just started in 2021 as far as film acting.
And
So,
then
I mean, like,
before that,
he's-
if you just look at that, then he was amazing, right? Because he just hasn't had that level
Yeah,
of work yet.
he's got to make some more movies for people to appreciate this more, and they'll find out
Also,
more. That he's got
Funny
more
thing,
range.
this was like a little 6 degrees of Pedro Pascal here, because you had a Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah.
Him and Joseph Quinn going to be in that, and the Hound from Game of Thrones was in this. So we had a little Game of Thrones reunion. I was all about it. When I saw him pop up, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is Game of Thrones." If
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal did in this what he did in Game of Thrones, if he played it like that,
Amazing.
I probably would have liked it better. But it was a little too downplayed for me.
Yeah. Have you all seen Game of Thrones? Pedro and that it was like
course.
season 4 or 5, something like that.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh
Oh my god, he's,
Yeah.
Huck,
He's
you
only
have
one
to
Just
season.
watch
Game
his
of
scenes in that.
Thrones?
he's really
It's
great,
amazing.
I know. I'm getting there.
though. I tell people, if you get past season 1 of Game of Thrones, you're good. But a lot of people can't make it past the first season because it's so
Really?
much exposition.
But he's very
Pedro's a bit-
flamboyant in that. He's like very over the top, but it's a similar role because he plays a guy who can like kill everybody in a fight. So if he would have played, I mean, I guess you don't want to do the exact same thing, but he could have brought a little. Here was more straightforward.
Yeah.
I love the way that what they did with this character and the kind of the way they twist and everything. I love that whole thing. I wasn't expecting it to go that way, and it came a lot earlier than I thought it would. The whole thing with he and Paul Mescal, I thought that was amazing. I like the whole storyline there. What they did with it, because they made him still heroic, even though he was supposed to be sort of a bad guy. But the whole thing. I don't want to talk too much about it if people haven't seen it, but. Pedro is one of those actors. I don't think he's the most amazing actor in the world. Again, when he does the Mandalorian, when he does that the Star Wars show, he's always wearing a helmet. You hardly ever see him. The Mandalorian, he's hardly ever never takes a mask off, so you can hear his voice. But it's harder to act that way with the mask on. But he's kind of one of those actors that He's always kind of Pedro a lot of times when I see him, and he doesn't really. He's not like the most amazing actor, but he's a good actor though, and he's probably going to be like a Hollywood star. He's kind of already is now. He's been in everything now. So, but Pedro, I think he's not overrated, but he's kind of just kind of mid sort of as far as acting talents, but he hasn't really done that great role yet. That's going to win him an Oscar or anything like that, or make him a superstar, but he's probably on his way there. But like I said, Game of Thrones was the first time I'd ever seen him, and I thought he was amazing. That one season he was in, just the whole way that season ended too. It's just what episode 9 with him. It was just shocking, really great.
Well, yeah, don't say it.
All right, let's
Haven't
dive
watched
into
it
the
yet.
next
Don't say it.
question here. We got to talk about our villain characters. I'll start off here. I thought Denzel Washington was amazing here. To me, I thought he did steal the show. I loved all of his scenes. To me, this is my favorite Denzel Washington performance. Straight up. I really like this performance. Yeah. Every time he was on the scenes, I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's something so like devilish about him, just how he would manipulate and like all the politics and so conniving and like very sneaky. I'm like, ooh, I really like this stuff right here. Like this is a different role for him. So yeah, I thought he was great in the movie. Definitely my favorite part of the movie by far. As for the twin emperors, I thought that was a really cool idea to have, okay, instead of one emperor, you got twins now, and they're both like D-holes, and they're like crazy and eccentric and just like kind of over the top, when like Jared Leto would get like crazy and stuff like, type of thing. So it's like, oh, these are perfect villains because you want them to get their comeuppance, like somebody just take them out, right? So I thought they were perfect for villains. I thought they were really good. Like I said, Denzel Washington's character was really good. So I enjoyed the villains more than the heroes in this movie, which is kind of funny to think about. Nate, how were you feeling on these guys?
Did you say this is your favorite Denzel performance of all time?
Yeah, so good.
None of the ones he won the Oscars for.
Seen all the movies.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't seen all of his movies.
Okay. I'll give you a pass. Because this is not close, but he's good in this.
I don't know. His other movies, he seems like very serious to me a lot of the times. I don't know.
He can be, but he just.
I'm going to compare him to when I get to it. I'll compare him to.
Okay, I will say this. I think I said it kind of earlier. Denzel's an automatic for me. He's incapable of being bad. So I don't even at this point when I see a movie with him, I don't say, "Oh, Denzel was great." I already know it. And he's great. I agree with Huck though. He doesn't I don't think he overshadows anybody in the movie. I don't think he doesn't do the scene chewing type of, he doesn't training day it, King Kong. He doesn't go there, right? No. And he easily could have, because the way the movie is, he could have, but he kept it right on the line. He stayed right on the line. He was perfect. I have no problem with him. And I do love, especially at the end, some of the stuff he does is just so gross, and I loved it. But I was actually surprised by the two Emperor guys. I loved them. I thought they were so over the top. I know maybe you guys didn't like it. The monkey made me laugh. I don't know why. The one with the monkey made me laugh. He's just so like an idiot. And
Yeah.
whenever one is an idiot and one seems to be smart but is crazy, like it's a good dynamic for the two brothers. So I actually really enjoyed them. I thought the villains here, while Joaquin is amazing in the original Gladiator, I think the villain characters, I think is where I agree with Mike, I think are a lot more interesting than the hero characters in this movie. I was like, when they were on screen, I was like, yes, I want to know what they're doing. I want to know what's going to happen to them. I want bad things to happen to them, but I want them to wait because I want them to be in the movie a little longer. So yeah, I actually liked all three of the main villain characters. All the performances were good. I had no problems with them.
All right, Huck, how about you?
I'm just gonna make it a 3-peat. I agree. I love those twins, man. Joseph Quinn. So let's give a little shout out to Fred Hetchinger. Never heard of that guy with the monkey. I mean, it is funny. We won't tee up what he does with the monkey at this one moment. I'm like, really? Oh my god, the monkey! Like that's ludicrous. But it was grounded enough that you bought it for that character because he's a little off, and then Joseph Quinn's playing a little bit more rational, but still, out there kind of guy. And Denzel's just, fantastic. Everything you guys are saying. I think the villains definitely colored this film. And I like that they gave Denzel, because he's from, the slave trade world, they gave him a reason why he's in command.
Right.
Like why, he's at the top. I'm like, oh, I like that, because a lot of times, sometimes you'll just see diversity for diversity's sake. And you're like, oh, come on. But when you find an organic way, especially putting us back in those times for that to make sense, it was beautiful. Like, Denzel, absolutely. And he still pulled back. He had to, show respect. He can't this isn't like Denzel just gets to come in and win. He's got to do his thing. And
Gotta play it, yeah.
And that was great. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Steve, how do you feel?
It's a 4-pack, Steve.
So I totally thought Denzel was more like his Training Day character in this movie. That's the way it was. He was kind of playing both sides and that whole thing, and he wasn't outwardly out there. You couldn't tell exactly what his intentions were, but he was kind of playing people, and he definitely hated the Romans in the movie. He had a reason being there, and he felt good as far as why he was doing what he was doing overall. But as far as the Joseph Quinn, I didn't know he was going to be in this movie. When I saw him, I knew exactly who he was, and I could tell even with the makeup, and I knew exactly who he was. But you're talking about the Fred Hetchinger. I was looking at his filmography, and he was in Fear Street. If you ever seen on Netflix, the Fear Street, the three storylines there.
I saw him, but I don't remember him.
I don't either, but
maybe
he's in I don't know, maybe the grocery store. He looks, when I saw him, I thought he looks familiar. When I look at his filmography, I think he was in News of the World with Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, I
think he was in that. So when I saw him, I thought he looks familiar, but I couldn't place where I had seen him before until looking up now. It's like, oh yeah, now I know who he is. But I did like the way that the villains were in this movie. It was entertaining the way their performances were and the characters are written. You could tell that they were just they were in trouble. Just that the things are going to backfire on them, and so that trying to get too much into spoilers, but yeah, I liked what the villains did in this movie.
All right, so getting into the next one, what did you think of the story? And once again, we'll try to keep this as spoiler free as possible. But Nate, how'd you feel about the story overall?
Okay, I thought the story was good, not great. I thought it was a little predictable as far as there's something that they try to keep hidden that is not that hidden. I think it was well told, though. I do think it was well told, and I think it tied into the first film well enough. That's all you can kind of expect from a sequel, in my opinion, is a lot of times people want it to be radically different. I'm more of the camp of, all right, tie it, do your thing. You don't have to be the exact same. And I don't feel it was the exact same as the first movie, but it had a lot of similar beats. I think Huck kind of referenced that earlier. Like it does have some of the similar beats, but the beats were great the first time. So, play the hits, as they say, when you have a good band, right? So I think it is a good story, well told, not perfect, not amazing. I was never shocked at anything whoa, oh, but I was into the little political type stuff, the intrigue, mostly because of the villains. I think they're very well written. So, yeah, I thought the story was good, but not great.
All right, Huck. Well, how do you feel here?
I mean, I don't even want to drag that out too much longer. I think, Nate, you nailed it. I think it's definitely after seeing the first one. What I will say, the beauty of this film is it felt like it was made just 5 years after the Gladiator. Like this sequel was so well put together. It feels like he did them much closer together than 24 years apart, other than Connie Nielsen actually being 24 years older. If you take that aspect out, it felt like this is exactly the movie he would have made 5 years after Gladiator. So that said, there's a lot of recurring elements that just recycled from the first movie. Like you said, you're doing a sequel. Let's see those greatest hits. So after seeing the first one now, this is what I was saying earlier as I was holding my tongue, which is, and knowing some of those story points, it sort of waters down the points now that I know they're there. If that makes sense. So I'm like, okay, so I like it a little less for that regard, but not remembering any of that, it held up a little bit better than when I walked out. I'm like, that was pretty solid. So that's my take.
All right, Steve, how do you feel?
So I think this story is supposed to take place like 16 years later after the original. Plus, it's 24 years later, but since they made
the story in storyline, it's 16 years.
16 years. It's like, so some of it made sense. I guess the Paul Mescal's a character. I guess he didn't. I don't know if he didn't know where he came from necessarily. I guess because it seems like his mother kind of explained who his father was and everything. I guess, and so she kind of explained that to him, and then didn't have really a purpose other than getting revenge on one character in the movie, and once he found out more, and then it seemed like things kind of changed a little bit once he knew this where it was, and Pedro understood the background as well. It seemed like things changed. There's a bit of a twist in there, but overall, once he found out, I think when I saw this movie, I knew exactly where the storyline. I knew exactly what Paul Mescal's character was, but there were people in the theater that didn't seem to know that. They were kind of surprised when they found out. They knew nothing about that. Who this?
Didn't see Gladiator 1. They were like, "Oh, what is this? Gladiator 2?" I didn't know there was a part 1.
Months ago, who he was and what his character, who he was, and so it made sense. That's the reason why I wanted to see the movie so badly, because I like that whole take on it, the kind of next generation kind of thing. So I enjoyed the story a lot, though. I wasn't disappointed. Like I think some people apparently are. Some people online that are talking about their expectations of this movie. I don't know what they were really hoping for, but I thought I did fine compared. It's not the original, but it's still, I think it's a worthy sequel. Maybe not as good as like Top Gun Maverick compared to the original.
Ain't no Top Gun Maverick. Come on.
Yeah, you can kind of compare those two and say that's maybe a better sequel to the original. But I thought this was fine especially for Ridley Scott. Was thinking of some of his misses he's had in recent years. I thought this was a big comeback for him.
Yeah.
Compared to like Napoleon last year, which is, there were things I liked about that movie too, but it was just basically a miss though. Overall, even with this a great Oscar-winning actor in that movie, Joaquin Phoenix, I thought this was a big comeback for him. It's been a while since I've really, really, really liked movies from Ridley Scott, even though I think he's made some great movies over the year, but it's been a while since I've really enjoyed something he's made.
Mike,
I'm shocked.
I'm sorry, go. You go.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick, Nate, like speaking of Ridley Scott, and this will be super quick. It is shocking to me after rewatching Gladiator, he did not win director for that film. It got picture, actor. It was like nothing felt big picture, best picture like Gladiator, and your director gave you that. So I hope this isn't also the we owe Ridley Scott an Oscar. Let's give it to him for Gladiator 2. And I have a feeling that's coming.
Oh, I hope not. I agree. But
that wouldn't bother me though.
I was just going to say, Mike, before you go real quick, like the one thing to Steve's point, because there's something in the story where, because I mentioned like it's kind of predictable, right? And Steve, I know exactly what you're saying, and I knew the same thing, and I'm sure Huck knew the same thing. The problem is the movie tries to pretend like there's a secret,
Right.
and I don't always love when sequels do that. It's like, we all know, like, what, you don't gotta drag this out till an hour and 40 minutes into the movie and then act like it's a reveal. Like, everybody's going, whoa, this is crazy.
Oh,
like, just lead with it. It's fine. You could literally lead with it, and nothing changes. The rest of the movie plays out the same. So that's kind of the writing thing where I'm like, okay, just be yourself. Don't try to be something different. You're not surprising anybody.
Yeah, and Ridley Scott's going to be 87 on November 30th.
That's why you just got to give him a damn
Give him an
Oscar.
Oscar.
He doesn't have many left.
He's earned it. It's a lifetime achievement.
I
Just
don't
give it to him
mind.
now.
Let's give it to him.
Already, come on.
Right,
He's
Mike?
earned it, man.
No, I would not give him any Oscars for this.
No. Wow.
So I do think this is a quality sequel. Don't get me wrong. I think this is a really good sequel, especially made decades later. Like, what are you expecting? This could have been a train wreck and just terrible. We've seen that happen with these kind of legacy sequels and whatnot. But this was a great sequel. I think you could have gone into this movie not seeing Gladiator, still had a good time. And I don't think this interferes with the first Gladiator. So when people are like, oh, this is garbage, give it a 1 star. What the? Do you know what a 1-star movie is? That's a Skinamarink. You want me to show you Skinamarink over Gladiator 2? Like, I can show you that, okay?
So you're upset your audience.
No, he's right. That's a 1.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. No, not a big fan.
Yeah, this was a quality sequel. I think the story made sense for it being made so many years later. Like, what else are you going to do with the story? Like, you kind of have to follow that.
Yeah.
It did have similar beats like you all were saying, but I think that's good too to have. Okay, yeah, it feels like a Gladiator movie. It doesn't feel like something completely random and just out of the ordinary. No, this was a Gladiator sword and sandal movie, and I got those feels. Yeah, the tone changed a little bit with it being more blockbustery and bonkers action and throwing the naval shark battle and all this random stuff in there.
I've never seen that before, yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. It's a movie. It's a movie. We're not going to be historically accurate here, okay? This is just, a fun fantasy sword and sandal movie. So I thought it worked as a sequel. I still like the original better, just all around better. But this was a fun popcorn flick and I had a good time with it. So it wasn't terrible. And I was just going in hoping it wasn't going to be terrible. So I thought the story was good. Yeah, certain spots were predictable, but I did get surprised a little bit with what was happening with the twins. And then when Denzel Washington gets in there, like, so some stuff did keep me on my toes towards the end of the movie. So I thought it ended pretty strong. So yeah, I enjoyed the story overall. It made sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question here. What was your favorite scene or moment from the movie? I feel like Nate's like already has one ready to go. Like,
it's tough.
And this might be a little spoily. I don't know. If
okay. Well, we could say the scene without saying everything that happens.
There you go.
That way it's not spoiling.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. Mine's a tie. The monkey. Absolutely. The scene with the monkey. And I'm specifically referring to when he puts him in a position of authority over in the thing. Like, that scene made me laugh so hard. And like, people were laughing in the theater, but I had to like go over, and because I was cracking, because like Denzel's reaction to it is incredible. The other act, like all the people in the room are like, what is going on? And like the way the guy's talking, and then they just cut to the monkey and he's wearing a diaper, and like, okay, that scene. And actually, Mike, you just mentioned it. I actually love the boat Gladiator. Like, okay, sure, it's implausible, it's whatever. Listen, it's entertaining and it's different.
I don't know.
It's different. You can't just have people come out on chariots every time. You can't just have people fight with swords every time. Fill that thing with water, throw some sharks in it, put 2 boats, make them recreate some battle from God knows when. I thought it was fun. So and then visually it was striking and it was different, to see the water in the Coliseum. And so I think those are 2 of my favorite, like, just moments that I was like, okay, I'm thoroughly entertained by this.
How about you, Huck?
Damn you, Nate! You took my thing.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Look, you cannot beat the freaking boat battle, and the reason I love it so much. Sharks, I mean, it is a little hokey. Like, how the hell did they get like 9
get them in there?
Sharks?
Yeah.
Like, forget that. I can understand. I can get that they have the aqueduct system that can pump water in there, so you can have some things on water. But just the battle savvy of Lucius to skim the other boat and just rake off some of those oars. Like, this is really interesting. This is, I like, at first I'm like, oh, come on. But then as it went on, I'm like, oh, this is really like, it shows you the level between two different sides. And I thought that was better. And you're tossing some hungry sharks, whatever. Let's go for it. You already had crazy ass monkeys at the beginning. So
and a man riding a rhino.
And a rhino.
Yeah, well,
But we needed a real rhino and we needed real sharks. That's what it was missing. We wanted
the rhino looked good though.
Yeah, the rhino and the sharks are good. I think the ape, the baboon things were the only ones
Those
that
were the only things that
literally
looked terrible.
felt
No,
like
I wanted everything
they were,
real. Get me
they were,
my
you
real
know, they
sharks.
were
They
in
could
a
have done
totally different movie, those monkeys. That was like, what are we fighting now? This reminds me of Spielberg with the last Indiana Jones, like the Crystal Skull, when he said, I will not rely on CGI. And then here we go with the CGI monkeys and the trees. And So I'm like, oh God, please don't let it go too far. Mike thinks they did go too far, but yeah, I love that.
It's not real animals. Like, come on, they could have
can't ride a rhino for real like that.
Yeah.
Who's going to volunteer to ride a rhino?
Come
well,
on,
first of all, I think they're endangered. I think they're endangered. I don't think they're allowed to even have like
just borrow one. I'm sure there's some kind of agreement, business deal they can. It's going to be safe. We're going to have safety procedures. We're going to have our animal handlers on set. Like, we can make it safe.
I don't think you could safely ride a rhino.
Rhino is especially badass with a very unique horn, like specific to the director's taste. And
it was huge.
You could breed one of those.
Right. Come on, Mike. Give him some leeway.
What
it looked good. It did look good.
Have
boat scene. Let's go, Nate.
Save the rhinos. CGI rhinos.
Oh, gosh. All right, Steve.
Yeah, so I thought the boat scene was probably the best, the most action in the movie, even though it didn't make a lot of sense really to be able to do that. And I've never seen that. Maybe it's happened before. I don't know. I've never heard of that in a Gladiator.
I don't think that's ever happened.
How do they get the sharks out once they're
in? They have an aquarium.
Sharknado. They use Sharknado logic.
Fly them out.
Drain it and let them die. Like just bye bye.
Then your job. Yeah, the action in that scene was really great. Yeah, I did like the whole cut off obviously his character, Paul Mescal's character, is a captain, just like very much like his father, very much like that. So, and they show like earlier in the movie what he's in charge of this fleet. He's a captain of these men, so he knew how to battle and how to win like that. So he's had some had experience in that way. So that's very much like the character in the first one.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just picked the best scene. The naval scene was the best, even though we needed real sharks. That, of course, was the most action-packed, creative moment of the movie. But if I had to pick something different, just to be a little bit different, of course, any Denzel Washington scene, in particular, what he did with the twins, multiple times. I just this is so devilish. Like, Denzel, you're doing this right now. Oh my! And I got, was gasping a little bit. I'm like, oh, he's really. Oh gosh. Oh, okay. All right.
He played.
We're doing that. Yeah. We're doing that. All right. So he was great. That's why I'm like, he just shocked me with this role right here. So I really liked his moments.
Agreed.
All right. Favorite Easter egg reference or callback to the original movie? To me, I'll keep this just a simple one. I don't even know if you call it an Easter egg reference, but having, the wolf with the, the statue with the little babies under it, where it's Remus and Romulus, the founding of Rome. I'm like, okay, that's a really cool historical significant point right there. And then to see it paralleled with these evil twin emperors and to see that connection there, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm glad they placed that statue there. It makes sense for the movie. So that's something that just stood out to me. And then also with the Colosseum battle, rewatching the first Gladiator, when they're like, okay, for us to get out of this, we got to stick together, we got to work together. He did the same thing in this movie. Like, we got to work together. Like, let's be a team. This is how we're mostly going to get out of here. So to see that happen again, even though it was a similar story beat, once again, I thought it made sense for the movie. So I like seeing that. How about you, Steve?
Oh, so I like the callback to the. I'm gonna spoil it, but the armor that they show, they had like a
Mhm.
they had a wing of their like a museum basically.
Yeah, museum. Yeah.
I mean, I love what they did with that too. How it
The
concludes
Gladiator Hall of Fame.
the whole thing.
That was cool.
Had his name on it. Yeah, I can't really talk about it without spoiling the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I love the way that ended in with the third act as well. The whole thing, because that armor helped a lot. So that's all I'm going to say though.
All right, how about you, Huck?
Well, there were two that just were sort of like superfluous. I didn't think they needed, like the hand on the wheat. Again,
Yeah.
not really sure why it didn't fit. And then and I won't get into. Well, no, I'm not going to say the second one. I'll tell it afterwards. I can't say the second one. It has to do with dirt. You guys know that.
Yeah.
I can't.
Exactly what you mean.
But I would say my favorite like Easter egg is Connie Nielsen. Like the fact that she is the one thing from that first movie that just really binds it all together. And she was just fantastic. I hope she gets a little recognition for this performance. So she's my favorite Easter egg.
How about you, Nate?
Right. I like all of yours. I'm going to go from left field here just because I want to talk about it and I don't know where else I'm going to be able to fit it. But this movie has something that I love that most movies don't do anymore. And it pisses me off. Okay. This movie has opening credits and an opening credit sequence. And I love opening credit sequences. Like, I hate that movies just start now and they just begin. Maybe they show the title, maybe who's in it. This has like a cartoon, like an animated, it looks like paintings and stuff. And animated painted Russell Crowe is my favorite Easter egg reference. It looks cool. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
I'm back in the Gladiator and they're showing the credits and there's paintings and fight. And I'm like, oh, I'm all about this. So actually the opening credits, which is almost like a little recap of Gladiator 1, is my favorite reference. And more movies need to do opening credit sequences, please.
Oh, 100%. I wasn't even thinking of that, but you're right. That opening credit was just perfect. And it had the music and it got you in the mood for the movie.
It got me hyped. I was like, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to fight now. Let's do it.
People got to put respect on the credits here, both the opening and ending credits. You got to do something with it, like make it entertaining.
I agree. I miss opening credit sequences.
Yep.
Bring them back.
I know, and sometimes now the movie starts and you don't even know the movie started.
Yeah.
I think that was Thor 4, where I'm like, wait, is the movie happening? I don't know.
Or there'll be movies that start and then they don't show the title until the movie's over. Like, the movie ends and it'll pop up. Gladiator 2. I'm like, why no?
Is it just now starting? Oh, it's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a long intro.
Yeah, it's like 10 to 15 minutes before they even show the Gladiator 2 logo, I think, because they show like the whole battle in the beginning.
Yeah, because they had that opening credit sequence with the paintings, and that was awesome. So
I
did love
over.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, did this movie meet your expectations? So I went in with very low expectations. I'm like, okay, another sequel. How many more sequels are we gonna get? This is probably gonna be terrible. How can you live up to the first Gladiator being so amazing? And I'm like, this was better than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be terrible. It was not terrible. It was fun. It was entertaining. It worked as a sequel. There were some cool elements in there that, like I said, that kind of caught my attention, like the naval battle and some creative stuff they did there. Besides the CGI, the CGI, the animals did not meet my expectations. I wanted some good animals in here, real animals. That's what fell. That did not meet the expectations. But other than failing there, and the runtime did not meet my expectations.
Yeah.
Too long of a movie. Cut the runtime. Why are these movies so darn long? This did not need to be that long. You could have easily cut out like 15 or 20 minutes here. So, besides that, very good sequel. All right. How about you, Huck? I feel like Huck has something to say.
Yeah, do I? I know. It's funny you say that too, because the original Gladiator was 2 hours and 40 minutes, but that was a really good watch. This one would have been nice to trim some of that just because. But I would say, personally, I'm glad you asked me to do this, Mike, because I really wasn't high on seeing this movie. Like, I just didn't care. like I saw the trailer. I loved the first one, and I'm like 24 years later, why? I don't know why I was a little bit more wanting for like Top Gun Maverick, something like that. Plus the trailer got me on that. So this sort of made me go see it, which I appreciated. And because of that, it was better than I thought, because I, like you, Mike, I went in super low. I'm like, come on, why? But it is Ridley Scott back at the helm. So you're not handing it off to some chump that's going to just ruin the great name of Gladiator. And so for me, it exceeded what I was wanting it to be.
I was just thinking, what if you gave it to like Todd Phillips to do?
Oh, God.
Oh my God. I would not.
Right.
musical Gladiator 2. Let's go.
Yeah.
If the monkey's in it.
Rhino start dancing.
There we go.
If the monkey's in it, I might have still seen it.
The monkey met your expectations.
Yes. Yeah. Far exceeded.
Okay. Oh, that one, yes.
On the great list of movies that didn't need a sequel, Gladiator would be towards the top.
Yeah.
So,
Gladiator, E.T.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't need it.
Don't need it.
It's fine.
Come on, we need an E.T. and a Mac and Me crossover still, right?
No, never.
Never.
So now with that being said, I will say I love Ridley Scott. I know Steve was mentioning he had some duds. Not to me. I mean, I didn't like Napoleon, but before, really, the last few movies before that, I thought The Last Duel was amazing. I thought he should have got nominated for that movie. So I like he's still a very good filmmaker, even at his age. So when they said he was attached, I said, okay, now at least that. And then they said Denzel's in it. I said, well, I will watch this, because if he read the script and thought this is worthy of my time, then it must not be bad.
Yeah.
So at that point, I will say that this movie exceeded my expectations because they were low. Then they moved to like middle. Honestly, I was like, okay, I'm cautiously optimistic, and I thought the movie, and I really enjoyed it. So I thought it was very good, and I would say it passed my expectations, for sure.
How about you, Steve?
Yes, I think it may have exceeded my expectations. I'd watched the trailer maybe 3 or 4 times, and it's like I know a lot of people want to see Wicked this weekend. Like I was like, I want to see Gladiator 2. Some of my friends said they had seen Wicked, and like
I just Gladiator a shorter movie, between the two. It's funny. This was a short movie.
Yeah,
the two,
Wicked, 2 hours 40.
Yeah, that's part one,
which is how long first Gladiator was.
Yeah. With Wicked, I'm not a big fan of musicals, and I've never seen that musical at all. So it's like Gladiator is what I had to see this on Saturday, and I'll go see the other one. Just to see it, I'll see the other one on Sunday, and I'm glad I did. I mean, like I said, there were a lot of younger people, a lot more. I think it seemed like a larger crowd would be there for Wicked, and my crowd was smaller. So I enjoyed just that. It was in one of the smaller auditoriums in this kind of a smaller, like 10 screen theater. And it's like, it didn't disappoint me at all. I had popcorn. It's a popcorn movie. I got to get that. And and I sat in like the second row. I like to sit in a theater. Yeah. Sit in a theater where I don't have anybody in front of me. Like I don't want to be distracted, or some people were talking like in one area behind me and a little bit. And I moved over a little bit to get away from them a little bit more, just so I can enjoy the movie and not have to listen to them the whole time. And I walked out. I did out of theater reaction, which I only do that for movies that I really kind of like. Like if I don't have anything to say, it's really good to say about a movie or positive, I usually don't talk about it. I don't talk about every movie that I watch. I usually have to be kind of motivated to see it. And this movie met that expectation compared to, despite what some people on my channel in the comments have said about it. I didn't have a problem with it. I would recommend people check it out if they like the first one. I think they'll still enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So not a 1 star from any of us, right? This is
definitely
not garbage.
At least 4 out of 5.
I don't know what that person is talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even if you just look at it from like a filmmaking perspective, it's well made. Okay, CGI. Well, let's say that's the worst thing about it, right? Like some of the CGI animals.
It is. Yeah.
That's probably the worst thing about it. The score is very good. The
Yep,
cast is
very
full of very good actors. The
Mhm.
acting is very good. The visuals are great. It's beautifully shot. It's well directed. It's well written. You just didn't. You don't have to like it. Maybe you didn't like it. Maybe the story didn't work for you. That doesn't make the movie bad. It just means you didn't enjoy it. You can enjoy. You could dislike good movies, and you can enjoy bad ones.
Yeah. It's funny. It sounds like if you break down all those elements, the weakest of them all is the story.
In a way, yeah, because it's
if
familiar.
you take all those things that you love, the music, the directing, the acting, and then you hit the story, it's okay. You know, it's good. It's like I think we've used this word several times, serviceable. Probably too much for a Ridley Scott film to use the word serviceable, but yeah.
But everything else elevates it.
We've seen a Gladiator story before. Imagine if we haven't seen a Gladiator story before, maybe this story would have been a little bit
if
better.
Gladiator 1 didn't exist, I think people would love this movie.
100%. 100%.
I think so.
Yeah.
I like this one in the House of Gucci.
Oh gosh,
that movie too.
I didn't dislike House of
Gucci was good.
So I like Lady
House of
Gaga.
Gucci.
When she was out of it, I'm just like
Jared Leto's character.
Well,
movie
I
was good.
mean, there were elements.
It's not great. It's not great, but it was good.
There's a guy on YouTube that said his uncle was just like Jared Leto's character.
Jared Leto's
Oh
hilarious.
yeah, I thought
like
that role was pretty good.
So, his name's like John. I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but he said his uncle's just like that character. So some people thought it was way over the top, but he said his uncle's just like Jared Leto's character. So I guess it is possible, but it kind of ruined the movie a little bit for me.
All
We're
right,
not talking about House of Gucci.
What wasn't over the top here was the box office here. So what do we think of the domestic box office opening weekend results? About 55 million domestically. We usually talk domestic numbers because, easy to compare because things get released in different markets, different times. So off of the domestic box office, I will say it's not a train wreck. Like this could have gone really bad, really fast and been like 20 million and we'd be like, what the heck just happened? But it's also, I don't think, amazing based on the budget. Now, maybe one of you guys can pull out the budget for this one.
250 million.
Insane.
But it's already made 220 worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay, but because of marketing, you're going to have to make at least double that. So this has to make...
it's got to hit like 600 million to break even.
600 to really get something out of it. Is it going to hit that? I'm worried for this one. Nate, what do you think? Is it gonna
I love box office talk. This is my this is my jam.
Let's talk dirty right there.
Yeah, I think you're onto something, Mike. I mean, I'll say this. All things considered, 55 is extremely impressive, being an R-rated film opening against Wicked, which is like, God, it was advertised on. I couldn't leave the house without seeing Wicked flying over my head or. It was like in my radio. It was in the store. Every trailer was Wicked before every movie. I go to Regal theaters. It infiltrated the iPhone commercial, the Pepsi ad, everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. And Gladiator 2 gets like a Megan Thee Stallion Pepsi commercial, and that was it. So, it's like, okay, this thing is everywhere, and it beat it here. But I think it's impressive. I think it is impressive. It was counter programming. It's tough. If Wicked didn't open this weekend, I think that number would be higher, to be honest with you. A lot of people are comparing this to the Barbenheimer weekend.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Where you have the PG-13, like fun, colorful movie that all the girls want to go see. Yeah. And then you have the R-rated, more, male-centric movie. But that women will also want to go see later because it has all these, lovely looking people in it. So I think it did well. If the question is, will it make money? I don't know. That international is going to have to carry it because I don't think it gets way over. It's not even going to hit 200 in the US. I don't think. But it's solid. All things considered, it's solid.
All right, Huck, I know you dive into the box office on your morning shows.
Every week.
Good news, or are you concerned?
No, so here's what's pretty great about this is we've seen way too many movies that should have done really well. Tank, Fall Guy, the Red One. Red One only made 32. Things like that are just like really shockingly low. And so for me, having kind of no expectation, I was worried that this was going to fall right into that same trap. So for me to see 55 million, that's really, really strong. And, the key every week, you got to look at that second week drop off.
Mhm.
If it's 50 or less, God, if it's less, this movie's going to do okay. I think it's exactly what happened. Was it Glicked? It doesn't work. There's no Barbenheimer. You can't do better than that. Glicked stupid. But for it to, you nailed it, Nate. It came out against Wicked, which is all the kids are going to go see it. All the families, a little bit younger demographic.
Yeah.
That's just like Barbie.
Yep.
That's taking the box office. And Oppenheimer kept rolling, though, because that audience dug it. And then maybe the parents that took the kids to go see Glicked, now they get to go see this next week because they're going to hear that this is a good movie. People are talking good about it. Except for the weirdos that climb on our reviews and go, it sucked. Whatever.
Are you kidding me?
I think the fact that it does have a bigger overall box office than Wicked internationally is shocking. Like, I think that bodes well. The fact that it's technically doing better than Wicked, maybe not domestic, but it's doing better. So I think it's going to be a little fight to see who ends overall better.
And it's going to be the adult counter programming for the next, because you got Moana 2 next week, which is another family kids movie, and the grandparents are going to be like, I'm going to go see Gladiator.
Well, and that's going to push it down to third place because it's not going to beat Wicked in second week, and it won't beat Moana.
No, but if it hits like 26, 30 million,
that's good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Man, you guys are so hopeful here. I'm like, I think this is going to be lucky if it makes over 500 million. Like, that would be astounding, because I do think Moana 2 is going to eat a lot throughout the holidays. Wicked, people are going to go back, repeat viewings. I know this is counter programming, but I feel like people that wanted to see Gladiator 2 saw it opening weekend. So I think we're going to get a big drop off. I don't know how much legs it's going to, especially with the negative feedback, right? When we see negative feedback, it could mean
the word of mouth will make it or break it.
So what is everyone hearing that's the biggest negative? What is the negative to this film?
It's just not Gladiator 1. I mean,
but that's ridiculous. You're going to say that about Moana 2 then. You can,
but that's not Moana 1.
People are going to love that. Like Inside Out 2. You're going to tell me people bitch that it wasn't as good as the first one. It was better than the first one.
Yeah.
Like,
and
go
not
watch
that
it. Like, go watch it before you crap on it. That's
right.
Not that it's a perfect metric, but like the Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is 84. So it's higher than the critic score, which means word of mouth could carry it. I do see it making 500. I don't know how much over, but I could see it. If it made half of that in the first weekend, you got to think more this week, next weekend. Holiday weekends are always big time because everyone's off work. So,
this whole week everybody's off. That can bode well for it.
Yeah,
come on, Mike. You got to be more optimistic.
Right. Black Friday, I think.
See it again.
It'll do. I'm not seeing it again. No, I'm definitely not going to get a repeat.
No, I'm not either.
And that's the thing. I think you need that repeat viewing for it to really have those legs. Like, I think a lot of people are going to see Moana 2 a bunch of times. Like, the kids are going to be like, take me again the following weekend. Like, let's go. Wicked. Let's go again. Let's go back to the sing-along edition in December. Like, I feel like those movies are going to get repeat viewings. I feel like people, Gladiator 2, one and done, wait for it to go on physical or whatever. I don't see people going back out to see it multiple times.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steve?
I compare this to Barbenheimer because honestly, I wasn't really planning on seeing Barbie last year but the marketing drew me in. I only saw Barbie once in the theater. I saw Oppenheimer like 3 times in the theater. This one, there's a chance I would see it again, but there's so many great movies getting released the rest of this month in December that it's hard to say if I'll get out and see it again. But I think it's going to do well on physical media. I think a lot of people will wait until it gets released on 4K and they'll check it out then. But compared to Wicked, it's like a $150 million budget. This one has a $220 million budget. So it is much harder for that to.
Where'd the budget go? I still don't get it. It was
CGI. They have Denzel Washington.
CGI.
Back the truck out. You got to pay him.
Or half of it was Denzel's salary.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I don't know if I didn't hear anything about like them having to reshoot. And Ridley Scott's like notorious for shooting fast. Like the guy doesn't even he just shoots a bunch of stuff and then they put it out. He doesn't even do reshoots really. So I don't know either.
But he spends a lot. He spent
Maybe
a
it was
lot on
the CGI.
Napoleon. He spends that money.
Well, consider the movie takes place in a place that doesn't exist anymore. It's all CGI, right? Like I mean, you got like the Coliseum CGI. It's probably a lot of visual effects. I didn't sit through the end credits, but I bet that section was long.
And you said Wicked was only 150 mil for budget?
Yeah, that's what it says.
I'm shocked that it's not reversed because that's all make believe in Wicked.
Well, there's
and it's longer, and it's longer by 20 more minutes. So I'm shocked. Yeah, what's that?
I don't think the acting talent commanded as high of a.
That's true. The cast.
Yeah.
But who in that in Gladiator other than Denzel would even
Pedro Pascal? I'm sure got paid.
Pedro isn't, but I think
they paid him.
I think we've all said Pedro's good.
Yeah.
He's not worth 20 million. He's not. I mean,
I will say though, looking at Box Office Mojo, that worldwide total is like, I mean, Gladiator 2 absolutely dwarfed it overseas, like destroyed it. Like the gap between what it made versus Wicked and overseas, and then you flip it, like Wicked beat it by like 60 million here, and it beat it like over 100 million overseas. Gladiator 2. So I think the internet, I think worldwide it's gonna hit that number, and I think it'll do well on video and like physical media. Everyone's gonna buy it. Yeah. So I think I think Paramount at the end of the day will be okay with it.
They have a hit.
Has it been released in China yet? I mean, that's always a big market.
No, if it hasn't hit China, forget about it.
So that China's always like the next level, like, and they only allow a certain percentage of American films or foreign films to be shown in their market. So I think Gladiator 2's got a chance, and Wicked will probably go there too. But so I think they usually wait to the end of the year they have that a quota that they're allowed to hit, and they won't allow a ton of American movies to show in China. And once they do,
it didn't open in China yet because the number one movie in China this past weekend, or the number one like American film, was The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So
really?
I don't think
last year. I like that movie. Wow. That was a good one.
I don't think it opened in China yet.
But does anybody think it's going to make more than Wicked or Moana 2? Because I think those two are going to make double to triple what Gladiator 2 is going to make.
That's tough. I don't think so either because of the rating affects it too, right? Like those are PG and PG-13, or no, I think they're both PG, right?
I think so.
If they're both PG movies, my niece can just go buy a ticket herself, So, those will make more, all said and done. But
but as far as movies, I never look at Rotten Tomatoes before I see a movie. It's always I check it out after the movie. Because I'm not one of those people that the Rotten Tomatoes score is not going to keep me from seeing a movie if it's something I want to see.
But if it helps people, this has good reviews.
Yeah. So it's like after I saw this, it's 71%, and like I thought it might be more like 80-something%. And Red One is like an example of a movie that's horrible Rotten Tomatoes scores, and the audience scores are huge for that because it's.
I love that movie. That's an all-time new Christmas classic. I want that.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie for a little movie. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's. I mean, a lot of people don't like The Rock anymore. I think The Rock kind of kills box office now, unfortunately. And The Rock's an icon to me, so he doesn't bother me when he's in a movie, but it turns people off apparently.
He should have been in Gladiator 2.
Well, I'm gonna say, how would you like to see this franchise continue? I mean, hey, Rock for Gladiator 3 now,
for Gladiator 3.
So, what are you guys thinking on this one? I personally would love to see the franchise continue. This can be literally the sword and sandal franchise. We don't have one of those yet. Why not just make a bunch of Gladiator movies, do them different time periods? You could even kind of venture outside of Rome, maybe. I know Rome with the Colosseum, that's the main thing. But what if they went to different historical areas and different time periods? All ancient times, of course, but maybe they have something there. I don't know. What do you think, Nate?
No, I'm good. I think 2 is good. Yeah, no, I do agree with you, though. Why the heck is there not like a sword and sandal 5 movie? They don't exist. 2 the most, right? You're like 2 300s.
Spartacus,
2 Gladiators. One
Scorpion King.
The Scorpion King.
There's like 5 of those.
Deathstalker has 4.
Okay. Well,
but they're not good.
They're not good. Right. And we need a new one. Where's the new one?
We need a fresh one.
Yeah, I don't know if Gladiator's it, especially if the budgets are in the 200 million range. And you know, I will say I'm okay with them not making any more Gladiator movies. And if they did, make it like sooner than later. I don't want to wait another 20 years or anything like that. At that point, it'll just be a remake. You know what I mean?
Really
Like,
Scott will be still alive then.
Probably.
Making movies at 110.
the dude has 6 movies in production and he's 87. So I don't know. But I'm good. I don't want another one.
How about you, Huck? You good?
So look, here's my take on Gladiator 2. By the way, I looked real quick. It does look like it opened in China and it didn't do well.
Oh,
So,
that's interesting.
it said it got a lukewarm box office in China.
Okay.
The despite doing well everywhere else. In fact, it was below The Beekeeper and Shazam 2.
Those
All
are amazing movies, though. Shazam
no.
2, masterpiece.
That's what I'm saying.
Shazam
That's what I'm
2.
telling you.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
too, is
saying.
Mark Hamill.
So let's do a reality check. Gladiator 2. You're not as good as Shazam 2. So
yes,
Very
Battle
few
of the
movies
Sequels.
are.
so this is my take. When I left this film, I really liked it, but I honestly don't see myself watching it again. I liked it. It was fine. It took me like forever to really revisit the first Gladiator, and I love that one. And I think that's what happens too when you got way too many movies in your collection, and they exceed 2 hours. It's like, oh god, the longer it is, the less you want to visit it, right?
Yeah.
So I was fine with this movie. It was great. Maybe I'll see it one more time, but I don't see too much past that. We don't need a Gladiator franchise. You know, it doesn't feel like that kind of movie. Like it's like a 2-pack. Some movies are good as a 2-pack. I don't always need a trilogy. Give me a nice 2-pack. Shazam and Shazam 2. There's a 2-pack for you.
That is a great 2-pack.
So I don't need to see this become some Fast and Furious type franchise. I don't know. I would tire of it very quickly.
Yeah.
Especially since this one leaned on a lot of the first one. It's not a very, I mean, I guess it could be a standalone movie. If you've never seen it and you saw it and you liked it, then I guess it is a standalone movie, but it does borrow a lot from that first movie.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's just go with the 2-pack and call it a day, shall we? Come on.
How about you, Steve?
Yes, I mean, just to give a spoiler, I mean, this movie is more open ended than the original. There are places they could go with it, but I don't think Paul Mescal would want to do a sequel. I think he's not, doesn't seem to be that kind of actor that would want to continue doing a franchise. I think he's a guy that's going to try something different. Probably every movie, he just seems to be had that kind of range that I'd be surprised if unless some actors they make a lot of money making a movie, they'll do a sequel, but I think he seems like somebody that's not going to do it. And if he doesn't do it, I don't think there's any reason to continue the franchise without him. Without Ridley Scott, and I don't think he's ever going to do another one either. So that's kind of the draw for me. The fact that he directed this one and the first one's so great. So I don't see any reason why they would want to continue with it, especially if it doesn't make enough money. Even on physical media, if it does well,
Too pricey.
You would have to make a lot of money to be able to make a profit with that kind of budget.
Man, and I don't see why this movie was so expensive. This could have been made 150 tops, but I mean anywhere from 100 to 150. I mean
CGI too. CGI is expensive.
I know. That's why I said real sharks. Give me a real sharks,
real tempered sharks out there with lasers.
Yeah.
Feed the sharks real extras, save some money.
Friggin' sharks with lasers.
Are they ill-tempered?
There you go. We got an Alien Gladiator verse
Mashup
Let's go.
Predator versus Gladiator.
versus shark.
That's not a bad idea.
That'd be cooler. That'd be much cooler.
All right. So our final question here. What movies upcoming in December are we excited for? Because, of course, we're the classy consultants of cinema. We got to watch more of these movies. We're frequent theater goers. So what are we thinking about for our next movie meeting club, right? So December, what are you thinking, Huck? What are you excited for in December?
Look, I am shocked to say this, but when I saw the first two, I was shocked how much I loved Sonic 1 and 2. Those movies are so entertaining. I got it because my daughter wanted to watch. I'm like, all right, we'll watch Sonic. By the time it was over, I'm like, let's watch Sonic 2. So I'm super hyped for 3. The trailers are really good. Keanu is Shadow and Jim Carrey like playing 2 characters.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, let's go. I'm super pumped about that. I mean, other than that, I'm kind of keen on what, Night Bitch is with Amy Adams.
She turned into a dog or something at night.
I don't know, but and Nosferatu looks pretty cool, even though that is totally not a Christmas movie and it drops on Christmas. So I may wait till the new year to
There you go. Combo that with Die Hard. You got a double Christmas.
Right?
Perfect Christmas movie.
But Sonic 3 is probably the one most excited for.
How about you, Steve? What are you excited for?
Yeah, definitely Nosferatu is most excited about that. Craven's going to be out this year. Sonic 3, that's something you can watch with the kids. Get kids excited. Anytime I see a movie with my nieces and nephews, they get excited about those movies. I get excited watching them too. I've never rewatched the first 2 Sonic movies, but just to see it with kids and how excited they are about it, it makes me enjoy it quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Just Y2K, that movie looks interesting to me. Just the whole, anybody that was an adult during that time, around 99, 2000, the Y2K threat was a major thing at the time. People really feared what would happen in that one. That's about it.
Okay. Now, as someone who goes to the theater every week and usually sees 2 movies, sometimes 3, I know I'm going to be seeing a lot of the movies. But if you're asking me which ones I'm like excited for, I'm not excited for all of them. I'm going to watch them, but I'm not excited. Nosferatu is the one. I think that's the one that like just looks like the best film to me. Sonic, I love the first 2 Sonics. I'm a Jim Carrey diehard fan, and anything that brings him back, I'm in. I want to watch it.
Yeah.
And he made me laugh in the trailer, so I'm with that.
Oh my God.
Other than that, I will say this is a weird one, but I saw this trailer recently, and I just see it's coming out on December 6th. There's a movie called The Return with Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
And he's playing Odysseus.
Right.
And it's like this like old, Greek mythology story where he's like returning home and his wife is Juliette Binoche and she's like got to find a new husband. And it looks very intriguing to me. And he looked kind of ripped and he's killed somebody in the trailer. So I kind of want to see that. I don't really know much about it other than that one trailer. And I like that cast. So I'll go with that as a third, like my third most anticipated.
Oh, such good choices. You guys have already chose them pretty much. I do think Y2K could be like a dark horse. It looked kind of like dark comedy, funny maybe. It's either going to be terrible or something really unique that came out of nowhere. So I'm hoping for the better part. Sonic 3, I think is going to be the best out of all the movies. I think it's going to be the most entertaining, the most easy watching. I thought the trailer looked amazing. I'm a big Sonic fan, so now to see Sonic. And Shadow, big Shadow fan. Now
Keanu
see
Reeves.
Shadow in Sonic. Yeah. There we go. That's going to be awesome. So very excited for that. I do finally want to see Kraven the Hunter so we can just never see these trailers ever again. I'm ready for it to be done. Let it pass. Right?
This thing has been canceled and brought back.
It's like a kidney stone. Like just let the pain go. Like let it pass. Let's get it away. But it could be okay for a Sonyverse movie. I don't know if
violent.
I don't have high expectations for Sonyverse movies anymore. Like, it's probably going to be better than Madam Web. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Ooh, high bar.
The bar really low.
Let's go.
What about Mufasa? Nobody interested.
Say, Mike, no Mufasa for you?
I'm not excited for Mufasa at all.
Me neither.
No.
It's pointless.
Can I say, though, like, it wasn't until this year I watched both Jungle Book and Lion King, the redone ones. And they were quite good. I was stunned
I love
how good they were. So even though I'm not super hyped for Mufasa, I bet it'll be quite good.
I mean, Barry Jenkins is a good, he's a good filmmaker. So it should be of some quality, but I'm just not interested in how Mufasa.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
That's why it took me so long to get to the other two.
The story being retcon, and now they're like,
now he's an orphan or something. I'm like,
like adopted
this?
brothers.
Yeah.
Weird.
Moving on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely put up a poll for voting for the community out there. You guys will definitely be able to help us choose that next one for our next meeting. So that will be a lot of fun. But let's go around real quick. If you have anything to promote on your channel, definitely let the audience know. Nate, I know you had amazing franchise American Pie talk the other day. But what else is upcoming and all that good stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So coming up, we have well, this week we just dropped my top 5 favorite from 1989. I'm doing my top 5 favorite from every year that I've been alive. So started with 87, did 88, now up to 89. So that's coming out. I'll also be seeing Moana 2 this week. I'll have a review out of the theater. I'm going to see Wicked on Sunday. I'm not that excited about it, but my cousin wants to see it. And I was like, you know what? I'll get a review out of it. So see that. That'll come up. And then our next franchise ranking for our live stream will be The Santa Claus. There's only 3 movies, but it's December. It's Christmas. We're going to do a little Tim Allen Santa Claus. So that's what we got coming up over there.
Santa Claus 2 is the best one. That's my hot take.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
I've only seen the first one.
Good. I love the second one. Yeah. All right, Huck, what do you got going? Well, morning mug tomorrow, right?
Well, here's the thing. The morning mug is going to be a nighttime chug because I think we're going to do it another night show like I did last week because this is how desperate I am for work. Some dude called me and said, hey, man, want to help me hang Christmas lights? I'll pay you because he's like one of those people that does that. So that's going to eat into the mug. So I will do a nighttime mug, nighttime show. I'll do that tomorrow night, so be on the lookout for that. I'll put the thumbnail up shortly after this. I also put up a review for Gladiator 2. Go check that out. And that's the only thing I got scheduled. I got a couple of things I'm working on too, but I'll announce those later.
Yeah.
To be announced.
How about you, Steve?
So I'm excited that like on Friday night we did a live stream and we all talked about planes, trains, and automobiles, and I watched that again. I usually watch it like once a year. I was going to wait maybe like Wednesday to see it, but I decided to watch it Friday. So I'm going to do like a John Hughes and John Candy kind of tribute kind of thing. Film it tomorrow night. Just talk about that. 'Cause as you know, like John Candy died like 30 years ago, 1994.
Shocking.
So, wow. So it's like this would be a good time to that 30 years since he's been gone. And he's so great in that movie. His character in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is funny and silly, but he's also some serious moments. It's some of his better acting. He's also in JFK as well. If you remember that character he played, JFK, was really serious in that. I think he was trying to make a kind of an Oscar kind of run there. But I think it'd be a good time to do a tribute to those two.
Awesome. I mean, you guys have so many amazing streams coming up. I'm like excited for all of them. I'm ready for this. As for my channel, you guys know me, tons of streams, tons of videos. You'll know it when I know it. They just pop up and they're like, yay, we got a new thing. So that's just how it goes. But yeah, definitely, I guess I'll plug once again, make sure you hit the like button if you have it. Of course, turn on the subscribe and notification bells. And then once again, consider some memberships out there. We have been doing exclusive member videos. So like, for example, this or that, what was a better Criterion title, Blood Simple or Life Aquatic? There you go. Simple as that, right? So members do get exclusive videos just like that. So definitely consider that. But yeah, that's pretty much it there. Just have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Go watch some movies, share your thankfulness with whatever you're thankful for out there, and just have a great time, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks for watching.